I'm 28 and male. I was just living my life with my fiancée Kelsie when my uncle passed away. It was pretty sudden, and I found out that he had left me a hefty inheritance. I was quite shocked by this, but I was very grateful. My uncle and I were very close. He was like the father I never had. So it made sense that he would leave all of that money to me, I guess. There's so many things I would love to do with the money, like, I don't know, going back to school, getting my degree, but I also want to be able to save some of it and start a family with Kelsie and buy our dream home. The only problem is that Kelsie's stepmother, Hannah, found out about the inheritance and immediately came to me to ask if I would help fund her IVF treatments. Well, I was taken aback by her request because, for one, I just received the money and she was already jumping down my throat for the cash. She told me it would be great for just helping her and her husband so they can finally have children, and that I would get satisfaction from them growing their family. But I want to be able to grow my own family one day. When I refused to pay for her IVF treatment, she absolutely lost her mind. It wasn't but an hour after I spoke with her that my fiancé was calling me from work, asking me why was I treating her stepmother so poorly. I was confused by her question, simply because, as far as I'm concerned, I did not treat her poorly at all. I just did not allow her to mooch money off of me. My fiancé said that her stepmother told her that I said she was not capable of being a good mom, so I would not help fund the IVF treatment. I could not believe she would say such a thing. That's clearly not what happened at all, so now my fiancé's mad at me because she's taking her stepmom's side. Her stepmom even said that I was selfish and did not deserve to have that much money to my name because I was just going to waste it on stupid stuff that has no purpose. I told Kelsie that it was all lies that her stepmother was feeding her, but she wouldn't listen. She just told me that I needed to help her and quit being so selfish, and that I did not need any of the money for myself. Since, I had so much, I could at least help her with one little IVF treatment. But she fails to realize, hello, those treatments are 12 to 20 grand. If I wanted to waste money on something that might not even work, I would go to the horse track and bet on the weakest looking horse for the big payday. The next day, I was looking up colleges to see where I wanted to start school again, and I heard somebody knocking on my front door. I got up and went to go answer it, but when I got there, nobody was at the door. But I looked down and there was a box, right there, sitting on the doormat. I picked it up and brought it inside. I was hesitant to open it at first because, well, you just never know. Someone secretly dropping off a box and leaving very quickly is not exactly, well, safe. Sounds pretty shady to me at the very least. I grabbed a pocket knife and opened the box, though. Inside the box, there were a bunch of pictures of something I could not quite figure out what it was, but then it hit me. All of a sudden, it was pictures of me getting into my vehicle. In front of the grocery store yesterday, me sitting in my recliner, somebody had clearly been following me about the day. Well, and taking pictures, too. I was so confused that I did not even consider the fact that the only person who was mad at me right now was Hannah. But why would she follow me around and take pictures? It just didn't make sense to me at all. I just threw the box away and ignored it. Whoever it was must have had a blast watching me pick out plums yesterday. That's all I can say. I would find out later on that I was being followed for one purpose, and that was to catch me doing something I was not supposed to be doing. I did not tell my fiancé about the box because I had all but forgotten about it, but by the time she got home, I'd slipped my mind. But when she did arrive 2 hours late, I was pretty ticked off by her not letting me know what she was doing after work, so I didn't even have to worry. She came in the front door, slammed her keys down onto the kitchen bowl at the end of the table in the entryway, and I ask her, hey, what the heck's wrong? And she just completely blows up on me. She starts yelling how I'm a piece of crap for calling her stepmother and telling her that I would rather pay for somebody to have, well, get rid of a baby than pay for her IVF treatments. I was shocked once again by the lies Hannah was telling Kelsie. I tried to defend myself and tell her that she was not being honest with her, but Kelsie would not hear it. We've been together for 5 years. She should know me better than that by now. I've never once said anything like this to anybody before, and she knows this, but she still thinks I'm seriously treating her stepmother like crap. All I did was refuse to pay for the treatment, which was ridiculously overpriced. And then Kelsie just stopped and stared at me for a minute, and I said, "What?" Well, she blurted out, "You're cheating on me." And I almost fell over backward at her words. I'm what? I asked her what the heck she's talking about, and she said that her stepmother saw me with a woman yesterday at the grocery store, and I was holding hands with her. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, guys. That's when it dawned on me. It's her stepmom, the one who took pictures of me. She was trying to find evidence against me just to back up the crazy lie that she was telling Kelsie. Now, I've had it. I told her that her stepmother was absolutely crap crazy, and she was being that way because she was upset that I refused to pay for her treatment. I also told her I would never cheat on you, baby. But she just started to cry and locked herself in the bathroom, and I kept asking her, please open up the door so we could talk about this. But she would not. That's when I grabbed my jacket and stormed out of the house and went straight to her father and stepmom's house, and when I got there, I did not even knock. I just marched right inside that house and slammed the door behind me. They were both sitting right there on the couch when I made my grand appearance, and were shocked when I came into the door like the Kool-Aid man. Her dad asked me what the heck I was doing, and I just said, maybe you should ask your wife, as she's been doing all this. And with that, her dad looked at Hannah and said, what's that supposed to mean? So I look at Hannah and said, well, are you going to tell him or do I need to? So she just looks at me, and then she looks back at her husband, and I just snap. I literally tell him all of the things she was telling Kelsie and how she was stalking me and taking pictures of me trying to trick Kelsie into thinking I was cheating on her, all because I would not pay for those stupid IVF treatments. To my surprise, Kelsie's dad did not know a thing about it, and then Hannah starts saying that I did say all those disrespectful things and that her sister was there when I said it. And she said, here, I'll call her up right now and tell her to come on over and we'll talk about it. I snorted and told her, she's crazy. Hannah picked up her phone and called her sister, who said she would be right over. I told Kelsie's father that his wife was nuts, and that I would never say anything like that when she was saying I said it. He didn't know what to do and who to believe, and I was just fed up with all of it, so I told them I was not going to just sit here and have one, or maybe two, people lie about me right to my face, so I turned around and I left. When I got home, Kelsie wasn't even there. I couldn't understand what was happening. That's when I dug the box out of the trash can and put it in my closet. I'm going to wait till it's Sunday when Hannah and Kelsie's dad go out to eat for supper. They always go to their little favorite restaurant downtown. And then I'm going to break into their home and try to find any evidence that Hannah was the one following me that day. So, for the next 3 days, I waited patiently. Unfortunately, Kelsie and I have done nothing but argue nonstop since she came, back home that night after I got home from her parents' house. She still thinks I said all those horrendous things to her stepmother, and nothing I can say will even change her mind. I just don't get it. She always takes my side when things happen, but this time it's just different. Something is not adding up. Sunday rolls around, and I watched the clock until it was exactly 5 p.m. I knew that they would be leaving at any moment to go out to eat like they always do, like clockwork. Kelsie, she had gone to her friend's house for her baby shower, so I didn't have to lie to her about where I was going, which is good because I don't need to give her another reason not to trust me, but either way, I'm going to figure this out. I grabbed my jacket and I left the house. I drove somewhat slowly just to give them enough time to be out of the house, and then I realized I needed to grab my lock-picking kit from the garage, so I had to turn back around and go back to the house. And that's when I got right down the block and saw Hannah's car parked 3 doors down from our house. So I pulled over and parked way down just to watch her. I could clearly see her taking pictures of my driveway, so I hurried up and pulled out my phone and started recording her every single move. I would use this to show Kelsie that Hannah was stalking me, and then Hannah pulled out and left. Obviously, her husband knew what she was doing after all because he was the one driving her car. And he made me think he had no idea what was happening, like I was the crazy one. So I hurried up and pulled into our driveway and ran into the garage to grab my lock-picking kit. I never thought it would come in handy. And then made my way over to their house. I parked out back in the alley and snuck up to the house. I mean, I was lucky that they had their little wooden fence that just went all the way around the back of the house, or somebody wouldn't have been able to see me breaking in. I went to the back door, and I started using that old trusty pick-locking kit, and of course, I was successful in getting it open. I went in, and well, as you know that they say, the search began. I looked high and low through all of the drawers until I finally reached the back of the closet in the kitchen. I ripped it open, and there it was, a box just like the one that was left on my front porch. I opened it up, and there was other pictures of me inside, and some of Kelsie, too. I kept digging through the box when something else caught my eye. There was a folder on the shelf, and I grabbed it just to open it up, and I was shocked to see a paper for a loan. The loan was hefty. $35,000. Underneath the loan paper, there was a bill for IVF treatments. Hannah had taken out a massive loan to pay for the treatments already. She never once mentioned that to me or to Kelsie, whom I know of, and I just grabbed all the papers and the pictures and I left. I made sure I put back everything the way it was when I found it, and then I made my grand escape back to the house. That's when I thought of something. I can create a collage of the paperwork and the pictures that Hannah had taken of me and just put it all on a board and present it to Kelsie when she gets home. So I ran to the store. I bought a huge board, like the ones we used in school for presentations, and I ran home to assemble my special little presentation for Kelsie. I even put the video of Hannah taking pictures of our driveway on the TV, so Kelsie could watch it. And then I waited for her to get home. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. Today's story is so wild. This is basically blackmail at its finest, and we're going to find out if OP's little trap and house break-in pays off for him. Well, if you guys are new to the channel, just know it supports me immensely if you just click that subscribe button. It only takes a second and it's free, and like I said, I appreciate that support so much. Let's go ahead and jump into update number 1 and see how the heck OP's going to pull this one off. Well, Kelsie pulled outside, and then I started to get nervous. What if she still doesn't believe me and we end up breaking up over this? I can't allow Hannah to destroy my relationship. Kelsie came inside, and I was sitting in my recliner with the presentation of evidence sitting upright on the couch. She starts to say something as she walked into the living room, and then she paused when she saw my board, and I said, Hey, hear me out. Your stepmother has been following me around and taking pictures of me so she can try to find evidence that I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to do. And she left these pictures in a box on the front porch last week, and I found these pictures in their house today." And then Kelsie stopped me and said, "What do you mean you found those pictures in their house today?" "Well, you see, I snuck into their home to find the evidence that Hannah was the one who left the box on the pictures, and honey, I found it." I pointed at the pictures, and Kelsie just stood there, and then she told me I was absolutely insane. I told her, no, I wasn't insane. And then I showed her the video of her stepmother out front of her house taking pictures of our driveway. I told Kelsie that she's probably going to call her and tell her I was not home while she was going to the baby shower. And sure enough, guess whose phone began to ring? Hannah told her that I was out messing around with her today when Kelsie was gone, and that she came by the house to see if I wanted to go grab a bite to eat. But Kelsie shows that Hannah was mad at me, so she knew Hannah was lying. That's when I interrupted their little phone call and pointed at the loan paper and the IVF treatment bill. Kelsie saw this and then asked Hannah why she didn't tell her about that and why she even took out a loan to pay for her treatments already. And Hannah told her that loan was not for her treatment, it was for something else, and as messed up if Kelsie believed her. I jumped up and threw my hands in the air. I tell Kelsie she had to be kidding me. I just showed her cold, hard evidence that Hannah was clearly lying, and she still took Hannah's side. Kelsie hung up the phone and told me that I was being ridiculous here and that I had no right to go into her parents' home, literally breaking and entering. I couldn't stand it anymore. I told her that I did not care, and that if she wants to believe her stupid stepmother over me, even with the evidence, then that's fine, I'm over it. That's when I realized that I was done trying to prove that I was telling the truth. After I told her that I didn't care anymore, she told me to leave. So I packed a bag and went to stay at a hotel for the night. The next morning, I had Kelsie's brother, Travis, calling my phone, of course. And when I picked up the phone, he was mad. Furious, actually. He starts yelling at me about how I told his stepmother that she'd never be a good mom and that she should not have children. And I told him, once again, I never said anything like that. But of course, he took her side. I was fed up with this entire family at this point, and I was never going to be able to get them to listen to me clearly. I'm really starting to think it's actually completely over between Kelsie and me. How could we possibly recover when she doesn't believe a word I say? That's when there was this knock right there on my hotel room door. I got up and I answered it, and guess who it was? It was Hannah. I slammed the door in her face, and she called from the other side of the door, saying, "Please, honey, let me in." And I told her to go away, and she said she's not going anywhere. So I tell her I was not going to talk to somebody so cruel as her. And she finally left. How could she possibly think I would talk to her after the irreparable damage she caused to Kelsie and me? I'm going to lose the love of my life because she's so selfish. I tried to call Kelsie and she didn't answer the phone, so I decided I would stop by the house and see if she would even see me. And when she answered that door, I could clearly see Hannah right there sitting in the kitchen. I asked Kelsie what she was doing, and she said she's talking to Hannah about her IVF treatment. And then Kelsie asked me something. If I was going to pay for them or not. I laughed in this crazy woman's face and said, "Are you kidding me? After every lie she said about me, do you really expect me to just say, hey, you know what? I will pay for the treatments." Kelsie just stood there, and then Hannah walked up behind her and told me that I was a selfish man and that I should be ashamed of myself. That's when I got really mad, and I turned around and got back into my car. I parked down the street and waited to see if Kelsie and Hannah would leave at some point. I'm going to go in there, and I'm going to grab my evidence of her stalking me and the pictures. I still have the video on my phone, but guess where I'm going this time? I'm going to the police. Right to the police station to get me a darn restraining order. Which means she won't be able to come to my house anymore. Kelsie fails to realize that I'm the one paying those bills for the house, so if she wants to take her stepmom side, she can go live with her. Update number 2. At around 3:40 p.m., Hannah came out the front door and left, and soon after, Kelsie came out and got into her car and also left. I waited for them to be out of sight and out of mind, and I drove up and parked in the driveway. I went inside like I owned the place and grabbed all the pictures that Hannah had taken of me, got back into my car and went down to the police station. I showed a police officer all of the evidence and then showed him the video of Hannah taking photos on my driveway, and I asked him if that was enough for me to go ahead and get a restraining order. He said yes, shook his head adamantly and told me that I could definitely get one with this. So I filled out the paperwork and went back home. Kelsie was there when I went into the house, and I told her to tell her stepmother that she'll be getting served soon, and that she was not coming back to my house ever again. Kelsie was so shocked. I simply didn't care. I told her if she was going to take her stepmother's side, then she could kindly pack her stuff and get out, because I'm done with it. I'm not going to sit here and be bullied by a woman who clearly has no self-control. I've done nothing to any of these people, and I'll be damned if I sit here and take another freaking second of their bullcrap. Kelsie told me, okay, I'm simply overreacting now, and I almost lost it. I told her no, I was not overreacting. I was simply underreacting. I should have put a stop to this when it first started, and I told her if she was willing to give up on our relationship for something so stupid, then go ahead and do it. Because I didn't say or do anything that Hannah said I did, and I was not going to say it again. Kelsie hesitated, and then she went into our bedroom and began to pack. That's when I realized she must really not love me to give up so easily, and I would never do this to her. That's what makes us so different. I would have believed her instantly and never took another person's side over hers. So she packed up her stuff, well, most of it, and then she left to go to her parents' house. I was left alone in my home with my own thoughts in my mind. I have to get Hannah back for what she's done to me, for what she's taken to me. I tried texting Kelsie and I didn't hear a word. Update number 3. This is the final update by OP. Hey guys. The next thing I knew in the morning, Kelsie was banging on the front door, acting absolutely hysteric. I rushed to the front door and opened it, and Kelsie came barging into the house and turned around and hugged me. I was confused as heck by this. Asked her what she was doing and pulled away from me and told me that she overheard her stepmother talking to her sister on the phone. I guess Hannah was bragging to her sister about how she broke Kelsie and me up, and how the plan to spread rumors about me absolutely worked. Kelsie said she was sitting in the kitchen, and her stepmother was on the back porch, but what Hannah did not know was the window was open. Right there, propped open, and Kelsie heard everything that she said. Kelsie ripped open the back door and walked up to her stepmother and slapped her across the face. I was so thrilled to hear that she finally believed me and that we're going to be okay again. Hannah begged Kelsie to forgive her and told her that she was just desperate because she did do the IVF treatment 3 times already. That's what the loan really was for, and they simply did not work. She told her that she just wanted to start a family, and Kelsie told her that she was a selfish piece of crap for lying to her about me, and that she would never forgive her for it. And when Kelsie confronted her father, it turns out he really didn't know a dang thing about it. Nothing about the rumors that he spread about me, but he did know that she was following me to take pictures. Her father told Kelsie that he was sorry that Hannah had done this, and to my surprise, he kicked Hannah out of the home. He said that I was a good man and should not have let Hannah cloud his judgment. I grabbed Kelsie and hugged her so tight. I told her how much I loved her and how happy I was that she finally knew the truth. Hannah was kicked on the street with nothing but her clothes and her car. She actually ended up sleeping in her vehicle that night right there on the street in front of Kelsey's father's home. But since Kelsey and I went over the next day, her father called the police and told them that Hannah was violating a restraining order. And the cops showed up and arrested her because she could not only be so close to me, and since she no longer lived there, she had no right to be anywhere near the property. Well, it just goes to show you should never lie about things and try to ruin other people's relationship. I bet she's not even worried about getting those IVF treatments anymore.